Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive here today. We are going to be talking about AI and finance. It's a pretty hot topic,
Yeah.
especially in the crypto space. We're going to be looking at an article from crypto.news. It's called Machines versus Markets, the AI Takeover of Finance. And it's dated February 2nd, 2025. So very, very recent.
Yeah, it's really interesting how this article kind of points to, we think about AI and finance, kind of think like science fiction, like way out there, but it's actually already embedded in our financial system.
Yeah, exactly. And it's really talking about what happens when AI becomes completely autonomous.
Right.
So if you're interested in the future of investing,
I think.
everybody is. You're in the right place.
Definitely.
So the article kind of centers around this idea of autonomous agents. What exactly are autonomous agents?
So they're basically AI programs that operate independently in financial markets, so they're making decisions and executing trades without human intervention.
So like trading bots, but on steroids. Like I'm picturing a Wall Street movie right now.
Yeah.
With robots just like
Right.
frantically hitting keyboards.
You're not far off. The thing is, though, that algorithms are already responsible for the vast majority of trades in traditional markets. We're talking like 75%. So
Yes.
this is like the next step in that. This is taking algorithmic trading to a whole other level.
Wow, 75%.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that much. So what makes autonomous agents so disruptive?
Well, it's this potential to democratize access to these sophisticated tools. Traditionally, only big institutions like hedge funds could afford these algorithms. Autonomous agents kind of level the playing field and give everyday people the ability to harness that power of AI in their own portfolios.
Okay, so that's pretty cool. So I could have my own AI financial advisor just working for me 24/7. It's pretty awesome. How does this work? Especially in the crypto space. This is where blockchain comes in, right?
Yeah, blockchain is super key here. It's the great equalizer in this whole equation. You think about traditional finance, it's like this walled garden where information is really hard to come by. But blockchain is like this open book, it's transparent, it's accessible, and it really allows for this free flow of data.
Right, and that transparency is like a game changer.
Yeah.
But how does it all connect with autonomous agents?
Data is the fuel that powers these AI agents. They need a ton of information to learn and adapt and make decisions. Blockchain makes that information available so they can analyze market trends, they can assess risk, and execute trades with incredible speed and efficiency.
So instead of like a
Like-
human trader that could miss something
Way
or make a bad decision, you have an AI that's just looking at the data.
and making moves.
Okay, so that's pretty powerful.
It's powerful stuff. The article even mentions a decentralized exchange called Bottega, where autonomous agents are responsible for over 70% of transactions already.
Wow, 70%.
It's huge shift.
That's wild. So AI is definitely making big moves in the financial space, especially the decentralized world. So let's talk about what this means. For the average investor, what are some of the benefits we can expect to see from this whole AI-powered future?
Well, one of the biggest benefits is improved market efficiency by removing human emotion. From the equation, AI has the potential to create more stable and predictable markets.
Okay, so less panic selling, more rational decision-making. I like that.
Exactly. It can also identify
Yeah.
and mitigate risk much more effectively than humans, which could lead to fewer financial crises
That'd be great.
and a more resilient financial system.
Yeah, so it's not just about stability, right? AI could also create brand new investment opportunities.
Absolutely. Imagine having an AI that's constantly monitoring the market, identifying emerging trends, and customizing your portfolio for optimal performance, even in really volatile conditions.
That sounds pretty futuristic,
Yeah.
but also really cool. Are there any downsides, though, to this AI-powered financial revolution?
That's a great question. And it's important to acknowledge that with any new technology, there are risks involved.
Okay, so hit me with the downsides. What are some of the risks?
Well, one concern is the reliance on centralized infrastructure. If an AI agent is depending on a specific server or API, and that server goes down, the agent could lose its capabilities.
Right. Okay, so what about transparency? How do we know that these AI systems are working in our best interests?
That's another really important point. The lack of transparency in
Yeah.
some AI systems could lead to manipulation or unintended consequences. If we don't understand how an AI is making decisions, it's really hard to trust it. And trust is essential in finance.
For sure, for sure. So how do we address these concerns? Is there a way to mitigate the risks
Yeah.
and ensure that AI is used responsibly in the world of finance?
Yeah, definitely. There are potential solutions being explored, like decentralized infrastructure. That could help. reduce that reliance on centralized points of failure, and increase transparency by distributing control. And using cryptographic verification, we can make more resilient and accountable AI systems.
Okay, that makes sense. Decentralization seems to be a recurring theme when we
Yeah.
talk about the future of finance. I want to go back to something you said about the rapid pace of change. The article predicts that agent interactions
Yeah.
it could actually surpass human interactions in
Yeah.
blockchain finance. By the end of 2025, that's like right around the corner.
Yeah.
What does that look like in practice?
Well, it's a really bold prediction, and it just shows how quickly this technology is evolving. Imagine a world where most of the activity is surveillance in
Oh.
decentralized finance, or DeFi as it's called.
For anyone who's not familiar, DeFi stands for decentralized finance.
Yep.
And it's basically a way to access financial services without traditional banks.
Right.
So as we're discussing, AI is playing a huge role in
Right.
shaping that future.
So imagine that world where most of the activity in DeFi is driven by these autonomous agents, making decisions and executing trades at lightning speed.
It's exciting, but also kind of scary, right?
Yeah.
It feels like we're on the verge of like a massive shift in how we think about finance.
Absolutely.
And that's why this conversation is so important. We need to understand what's at stake here and how to navigate this new era of finance.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're going to continue exploring this in part 2 of our deep dive. We're going to be discussing the potential implications of this AI takeover, both the good and the bad. So make sure you stick around for part 2.
So we were talking about this shift towards AI-dominated DeFi and how fast it could happen. The article even predicts it could happen by the end of this year.
Yeah, that's like insanely fast. I can't even imagine what that would look like. Will I even have to log into my crypto wallet anymore?
Well, it's unlikely that human interaction will completely vanish from DeFi. But the article paints a picture where our roles might shift significantly. Like, instead of us actively managing our own portfolios, we might delegate that to AI agents and let them scan the market, identify opportunities, make trades on our behalf.
Oh, so kind of like set it and forget it. That actually sounds kind of appealing, especially for someone like me who's not a financial expert. But I got to admit, it's also a little scary to think about giving an AI that much control. What if something goes wrong?
Yeah, I understand that concern. No system is perfect and there are always going to be risks. But it's worth remembering that human traders make mistakes too, often driven by emotions or biases. The potential advantage of AI is that it can process information and make decisions based on pure data, potentially minimizing those human factors.
Okay, that's true. I mean,
Right.
it still feels like we're on the edge of a major revolution. And that's always a little unsettling. Are we really ready for this level of AI in our financial lives?
It really makes you think. The truth is, no one really knows what the future holds. Just like with the early days of the internet, there's a lot of uncertainty around AI and its impact on finance, but that also means there's a huge amount of potential for innovation and growth.
Right, and just like the early days of the internet, we'll be here to help make sense of it all.
Exactly.
It's really important, I think, to have open and honest conversations about these implications of AI in finance. It's not just about technology. It's about shaping the future of our financial systems and, really our society.
Absolutely.
We can't just ignore it and pretend it's not happening. We need to educate ourselves, discuss the risks and benefits, and work towards creating a future where AI is used responsibly and ethically.
100%. This is where the conversation gets really interesting because it forces us to confront some really fundamental questions. Like, for example, if AI becomes this dominant force in finance, how do we ensure fairness and prevent potential biases in algorithms from creating or even worsening existing inequalities?
Yeah, those are really important questions. It's easy to get caught up in the hype or fear surrounding AI, but we need to remember it's a tool. And like any tool, it can be used for good or bad. It all comes down to how we choose to use it, how we develop it, implement it, regulate it.
Right, exactly. The responsibility lies with us as individuals and as a society to guide the development of AI in a direction that benefits everybody. We need to be mindful of the potential pitfalls and make sure we don't accidentally create a system that just makes existing problems worse.
Right. It's about finding that balance, which is why it's so important to have these discussions about the future of technology and finance.
Absolutely. Engaging with these issues now, while the technology is still relatively young, is really crucial to shaping its development in a positive direction.
So where do we go from here? What can our listeners do to navigate this landscape and be prepared for this AI-powered future of finance?
Well, first and foremost, stay informed. Read articles, watch videos, listen to podcasts, engage in discussions about AI and its impact on finance. The more you understand about these technologies, the better equipped you'll be to make good decisions about your finances.
Right. And never stop learning. That's what we're all about here.
Another important step is to develop your critical thinking skills. Don't just accept information at face value. Question assumptions, evaluate different perspectives, and form your own informed opinions. AI is a powerful tool, but it's important to use it wisely and ethically.
I like that. We're bombarded with so much information these days. You really have to be able to filter through it all.
And finally, don't be afraid to experiment. Explore different AI-powered financial tools and platforms. Get some hands-on experience with these technologies. The best way to learn is by doing.
That's a great point. So it sounds like we're entering a very exciting but uncertain time. It's like we're standing at the edge of this uncharted territory.
It's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And just like explorers of old, we need to be prepared for the challenges and opportunities.
I love that. This has been such an interesting conversation.
Yeah.
But before we wrap up, I want to hear your final thoughts. What's the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that AI in finance isn't just a technological shift. It's a societal one. It has the potential to reshape our relationship with money, redefine how markets work, and create new opportunities for wealth creation and financial inclusion. But it also presents new challenges that we need to address proactively and thoughtfully.
That's a great point. It's not just about understanding the tech. It's about understanding its impact on our lives and our future.
Exactly.
And actively shaping that future.
It's a call to action for all of us to engage with these issues, participate in the conversation, and work towards creating a future where AI and finance benefits everyone.
Well said. Well said. So that wraps up part 2 of our deep dive into the AI takeover of finance. But don't worry, we're not done yet. We'll be back in part 3 to explore some potential scenarios for the future of finance and discuss what steps we can take to prepare for this brave new world. And welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into this AI takeover of finance. We've covered a lot of ground, from autonomous agents to DeFi, and talked about the potential risks and benefits of this whole rapidly changing landscape.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
It really has. We've gone from picturing robots on Wall Street to talking about a complete paradigm shift and how our financial systems operate. It's exciting, it's a little scary, and honestly, it's kind of mind-blowing.
Yeah, I think mind-blowing is a good word for it.
It really is. And I want to give a shout out to our amazing CoinTalk Podcast YouTube community for joining us on this deep dive. Your comments and questions have been so insightful, so keep them coming. We love hearing from you.
Yeah. Yeah. Engagement and dialogue are so important when we're talking about something. As potentially transformative as AI in finance, it's not just about understanding the technology, it's about shaping its development and making sure it's used responsibly.
Couldn't agree more. So as we wrap up our deep dive, let's shift our focus to the future. What are some potential scenarios we might see in the next few years, and what steps can our listeners take to prepare for this AI-driven world?
Well, one scenario we might see is the emergence of hybrid financial systems, where AI and human expertise kind of work together in a more synergistic way, like a collaboration, where AI handles a lot of the data analysis and risk assessment, while human advisors provide that personalized guidance and strategic direction.
Right, okay. So not necessarily replacing humans entirely, but more like augmenting our capabilities and allowing us to focus on those higher level tasks.
Exactly. We could also see the rise of AI-powered financial education platforms that help people make more informed decisions about their finances. Imagine interactive tools that personalize financial advice, explain complex concepts in a really simple way, and help people navigate the world of DeFi.
Yeah, that would be amazing, especially for people who are intimidated by traditional financial institutions.
Right.
Or don't have access to good financial advice. It could really democratize financial literacy.
For sure.
So what are some concrete steps that our listeners can take today to start preparing for this AI-powered world?
Well, I think the most important thing is to stay curious, read articles, watch videos, listen to podcasts, engage in discussions about AI and its impact on finance. The world of technology is always changing, so you got to keep learning.
Absolutely, lifelong learners.
Another important step is to develop your critical thinking skills. Don't just take everything you hear as fact. Question assumptions, evaluate different perspectives, form your own opinions. AI is a really powerful tool, but it's important to use it wisely and ethically.
Right, yeah. Like we were saying before, there's so much information out there. You really have to be able to filter through it.
And finally, don't be afraid to experiment. Explore different AI-powered financial tools and platforms. Get some hands-on experience. Play around with it. The best way to learn is by doing.
Love that. So after this deep dive into the AI takeover of finance, what is the one key takeaway you want our listeners to remember?
I think the most important thing to remember is that AI in finance isn't just a technological shift, it's a societal one. It has the potential to change how we think about money, how markets work, and create all these new opportunities. But it also presents new challenges that we need to be aware of and address proactively.
Yeah, that's a powerful message. It's a reminder that we're not just watching this happen, we're actually shaping it.
Exactly.
That's pretty exciting.
It's a really exciting time, and I'm optimistic about the future of AI in finance, especially if we approach it with this mindful and collaborative mindset.
Well said. A huge thank you to you for joining us on this deep dive. It's been such a great conversation. And of course, a massive thank you to our amazing CoinTalk Podcast YouTube community for tuning in. We appreciate you all so much. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more deep dives like this one. Hit that like button, leave a comment, and share this video with your friends. We'll see you in the next one.